Hi, I'm Jimmy Anaya, and I work for Intentional Living, and I'd like to tell you my unique story about adoption. I met my wife back in high school. At the time, we were seeing other people, and after high school, she got married, and 2 years later, had a kid, her first son, Joseph. I happened to be there at the time, and I actually rushed over to her house to pick her and her husband up and take them to the hospital. So I was there for that whole delivery of Joseph, and that was back in 1987. 2 years later, I joined the Navy, and I left to Virginia, where I was home ported from, and her husband joined the Air Force, and he moved to Florida with the family. 2 years later, my ship was in the shipyard there in Mississippi, which was great because it put me close enough to them that I can reach them within 2 hours. And in 1989, Daniel was born. So fortunately, I was able to arrive and be there for his birth. I got out of the Navy and came back to Tucson, Arizona. In 1992, my wife got divorced, and she came back to Tucson with the kids. Well, I had to be near those kids. And in that time, me and my wife, we'd had a friendship that had really blossomed and then eventually became romantic. We got married in '94. And my relationship with those boys has been wonderful ever since. We've gotten along so great with them. Everything's been fantastic. But when Joseph, my oldest, turned 18, he surprised me. I remember still, he came to work and said, "We got a surprise." And they told me that he had changed his last name to my last name when he was 18, because he was legally able to do that. I don't know why I was surprised again when my youngest, Daniel, did the same thing on his birthday. So they had both taken my last name. When Daniel turned 21 and they were both of legal age, they came to me and said, "We'd like to be adopted as adults by you." And I thought that was wonderful. So we did the paperwork and the arrangements and got a lawyer and went to the courts. And on November 10th of 2008, I was able to officially adopt them. The interesting part of the story is that when they were infants, I was asked to baptize them. So at one point, I was their godfather. And then through marriage, I was their stepfather. And after the adoption, I became their father. What's been great is that as I've been a part of their lives from the very, very beginning, since before they were born to this day now, they've seen me as their dad the whole time. And so that's just my story, and I know it's unique, and it's one I'm very proud of.